it's my way or the highway might sound like the thing to say as a parent trying to raise responsible teenagers, but one expert says before you head into battle, consider the art of negotiation. Here with more is Dr. Greg Jantz. Welcome back.
Hey, good to see you.
How are you? I was just telling you, I feel like I did this a bit as a parent because I have such a strong-willed son that it wouldn't have done any good any more than it did with me for somebody to say, you must, because I say so.
That's right, strong-willed son. My way or the highway. Didn't work, did it? No.
Probably, no.
What do we do, right?
What do we do? And also, what's the advantage of maybe not taking that road even though we're frustrated?
Okay, remember, a teen needs two things from us. They need to feel heard and understood. So we're going to help them feel heard and understood. Now, we're still the parent.
And they need boundaries
and
because
they need
they're
boundaries. I'm glad
developing.
you used that word boundaries. Still need boundaries. And we need to help them with that. But boy, the difference it makes if I can show you some value and say, yeah, I hear what you're saying, so acknowledge them. So the more we can give them value, remember the teen is struggling to have their voice heard anyway. But we want them to have the exercise of learning how to negotiate. Boy, that's a leadership skill they can use later.
Definitely.
But we still have to have a key ingredient called respect. They've got to respect the authority or the boundaries that we place.
Right.
But remember, their second job, the teenager, is to test those boundaries. That's their job description. I'm going to test every boundary you've put out there,
So
right?
they're just doing their job.
They're doing their job. So look at it that way. Sometimes don't we tend to take it too personal and go,
Sure.
they don't love me, or we're taking it way too personal.
Or how, you seem so smart. How could you do such a dumb thing? That's something I never said out loud, but was in my thought bubble a lot. So let's talk about the advantage of offering that respect to encourage getting it back.
Sure. Okay. And that's part of, we're going to help them feel heard and understood. But, and use a basic skill called paraphrasing. I hear you saying you'd like to stay up all night with your friends. Okay. So help them paraphrase back.
Right.
It's basic skill. But also let them know what's possible and what's not possible, and what you need from them. In order to do this, I'm going to need this from you. So, but we need to practice boundaries. Kids need boundaries around technology. They need boundaries around what's good sleep hygiene. So what are we modeling for our own boundaries to our kids?
Oh, so like we need to not be on the phone all the time.
Well, if you're walking down the hall in the house and you run into the wall because you're texting somebody and you tell them you're on your device too much,
they're not going to listen to that.
So
what about the parent who says to you, look, my teenager doesn't listen. I just need to throw down some hard and fast rules because, if I try to negotiate, they won't respect me. They won't understand where the edges are. What's your argument back?
Sure. Well, there is something called rebellion. And there are kids that enter in a zone and they're going to test everything, but it's kind of crossed the line. It's rebellion, where they may want to do things just to upset you. So remember who has the power. Teens can have lots of power or believe they have it. Okay.
They don't have any money or a car.
So, yeah.
Find your
here's the
currency
thing.
and work with it.
That's right. They're going to be testing their power, but our job is to empower them.
Yeah. So let's talk about the different.
I don't mean this is always easy.
No, it's not always easy, but I like the idea. So you talk about kids being two different types, the warrior and the pacifist.
Yes.
What is that?
Okay, the warrior, they're always up for the good fight. Yeah. And maybe you used the word strong-willed. Maybe they're the strong-willed kid.
Well, that's I say that in the most loving way because I was the same way. I recognized it.
Yes. So
it's
they
not a bad thing, right?
No.
You can channel it into a good thing in adulthood.
Right. Oh,
it doesn't need to be squashed, but you've got to work with it.
Yes. Now, the warrior likes to argue. Oh, they love to argue. And one of the lines that we have used, my wife and I have used, and we practice using at times, is the line, I love you too much to argue with you. So here, never take the bait.
Does that stun them into silence?
Well, it's like, where do you go with that? And it's really true. I love you too much to spend our time arguing. So, yes. So I'm putting a boundary around, I'm not going to sit here and argue. Because guess what? If I argue, it escalates, and then neither one of us feels good. So sometimes the boundary is, I'm telling them, I love you too much to argue, and I'm going to go to a different room. I'm going to excuse myself now. Teenagers are hypersensitive to rejection. So don't do things like or put downs or you never listen to me. Yeah, you know, we may feel that at times, but boy, be careful about put downs.
Saying it.
They're hypersensitive.
Yeah.
Their self-esteem is still developing. Our job is to empower them. They're going to test us.
And those words can stay with them for much, much longer than we would
Yeah.
know when we say them. Now, you say there are some rules that are non-negotiable.
Sure.
Personal safety, family rules, but you have to talk about those things and you have to make them non-negotiable. So if you're taking this negotiating style, how do you deal with the non-negotiables?
Sure. So here's the rules of our family, and maybe it requires a family meeting or a family huddle. Sometimes, and don't just have family meetings when there's something wrong. Occasionally just get together because things are going well too. But you could use, maybe it's the beginning of the year when you look at goals and look what do we want to do as a family this year, but review those. Here's for our family safety, it's for everybody's best interest. And maybe family safety has to do with where you go, who you're with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's curfew hours. Maybe it's how do I communicate? If I'm on my way home, do I expect a text? So set
Right.
up, what are the rules?
But if those rules are broken
Then
and you're
there's
taking
consequences.
this negotiation style, then
Yes.
how do you impose the consequence?
Sure, I'm going to say there's natural consequences. Sounds like this didn't work out. You know, there's a natural consequence. So when I use the word natural consequence, it's not so much me punishing you. This is just what happens as a result of that. So, and do so.
Try to get it out of the
Yeah,
personal.
so the natural consequences, I'm sorry, it looks like, and I am really sorry about this, but it looks like you're going to lose your phone or your device rest of this week. That's just a natural consequence. So, but you decide. There's age-appropriate consequences. Now, as your teen gets older, some of the things you did when they're younger don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we want them to establish those guardrails in their own life.
Right.
So we're helping them do that now.
So that they can obey the guardrails later in life or understand the consequences.
Exactly.
I love it. You're a teacher as a parent.
We are.
That's
And you know
what
what?
you're
We
talking
all
about.
love our, despite frustration, we all love our kids
Oh,
dearly.
we do. Oh, we do so much.
And we want to impart good words on them.
Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Dr. Jantz. When we come back, gardening guru Cisco Morris is going to impart some good words on the dogwood. We'll be right back.